Hello and welcome to Wake and Jake. Baseball is back, and the Yankees are cheating. We'll talk some fat bats. It's the topic of the day. You can hear from the tone of my voice that it's now my second and a half time talking about the fatties, and I guess I am starting to get over it a little bit. Trevor Plouffe had a little bit of this demeanor, and I kind of called him out. I guess I'm calling myself out because the bats are legal, but we'll walk through it. If this is where you get your sports news, well, God, I love you. You're the best. We appreciate you. It was a huge Wake and Jake offseason for myself and BBD here. The channel's doing great, and we're excited to roll into it. So we will do the Thickum bats. And then I watched a ton of ball this weekend. I watched the MLB does 3-minute recaps of every game. If you're trying to really get into it, that's a better way than watching the box score. It's still not watching the game, but it's a lot of games. The Rays playing at Steinbrenner Field. Yandy Diaz got robbed by like all the Rockies Gold Glovers in one game. It was Tovar, McMahon, and Doyle all made like amazing catches against him, and Yandy Diaz was frustrated. And that's the stuff you wouldn't know if you just looked at a box score. I think MLB, they also, if you're, this isn't an ad for them, but I guess if you're just trying to watch more, catch up more, I think they're sandwiching all of those 3-minute recaps together in one like 45-minute video. It's kind of crazy to watch because it's a little too much. It's like if Red Zone had Red Zone highlights. But just an FYI of how I was trying to keep up with the other teams while enjoying my Yankees this weekend, who are kind of the story of the weekend for a different reason than you'd expect. And then I want to bop around the horn a little bit, show you guys. Is Around the Horn the show done? I saw they were doing like final stuff.
I think they had their last episode. I'll look into it.
I'd have to have Tony Reale on. He follows all our stuff. We like that a lot. So we'll make it around the league, hopefully catch your team on the way by. The fat bats, if you don't know, the bowling pin bat, the Torpedo, it's getting a lot of nicknames, stole the show this weekend. The Yankees, former friend of the Yankees, Nestor Cortez, came into town. This will be fun. Nestor versus Max Fried, old lefty versus new lefty. Max Fried, first pitch, grounder back to him, fielded out. It's nice. It's kind of a good feeling, right? Like, oh, okay, I'm here. Gold Glover. Anyways, bottom of the first, Paul Goldschmidt, home run. Okay, sure. Leading off, former MVP on the Yankees. Why not? Cody Bellinger, first pitch, hit in 2-hole. Home run. Former MVP. Why not? Aaron Judge, third batter, third pitch. Home run, MVP, why not? Never happened before in baseball. Was pretty wild to have that game on and just being like, first pitch, that's very rare. Back-to-back doesn't happen, never mind first two pitches. And then to have it 3 times, it's kind of a weird feeling of we're up 3-0, there's so much more baseball to go, but we've won this game, right? Turns out they did. They hit a 4th homer that inning by Austin Wells. The Brewers came back and made it 4-3. People might forget that in the history books because the Yankees went on to hit 9 home runs that day. It was an 80-degree day in March in the Bronx, which I think that deserves to be mentioned. The ball was traveling well. Couple porch jobs throughout the weekend, but both teams play there. The Brewers got a couple, which actually made me happy, which was sad. But that's how much they were pumping the Brewers. Yeah. And so the story comes out after this game that the Yankees are using these new torpedo-shaped bats. Guy from MIT, we're calling him Lenny. Aaron Lenhart. Probably, I'd like to assume he's one of those people you meet in life that's actually smarter than you. There's some cool stories around him. Made his way through the coaching ranks, got with the Yankees. He's now with the Marlins. So, hey, those Marlins who won 3 out of 4 this weekend, if you believe in playoff Lenny, time to start buying some stock. So Aaron Judge, not using the torpedo bat, hit 4 home runs this weekend. It's really good. A lot of other Yankees were using them. Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, Jazz Chisholm, Anthony Volpe, and Austin Wells. All of them homered. Jazz hit 3. Volpe had 1 or 2. Volpe had 1 that snuck out that made me ask questions about the torpedo bat a little bit. So the bat is legal. And for some of you, maybe the conversation should just stop there. I think the MLB rule is, I love when people bring out the actual MLB rule because it's always Rule 2.61C, and it's like the barrel can be no wider than 2.61 inches. And it's just a reminder, if you want to really freak yourself out one day, go read the MLB rule book. Because how do you do that? How and why? That's for another time. The bat is within the rules. They've essentially taken the barrel and they've slid it down a little bit. And they're tailoring, the Yankees at least, are tailoring these for each hitter. Everyone likes doing the golf comparison. I don't. Golf clubs are kind of different in different ways. I guess it is similar in some dynamics, but they're moving the barrel of the bat down a little more towards the label for most of the hitters. And that is the end of the bat weaker? It has to be, right?
I think so. I don't know if that's I don't know exactly the rule. I know about like the max diameter it's allowed to be and all that. But the ends are smaller on the torpedo bats we've gotten to look at.
Yeah, and that's I have a couple Jakey theories brewing that we'll get to in a little bit. But I think it is funny that the Yankee name still works. Shout out to Talking Yanks. That if this was another team, I don't think this would be as big of a story. Or I could fade myself on that. And if this was I don't want to say more random team, but if we spun a wheel and if it was the Marlins, I don't know if every show would be opening up about it. I think it would be interesting. I think it would be like, wait, are the Marlins? This Marlins team just hit a ton of home runs. What the hell? They're using a different bat? I guess it's still interesting. But the Yankees name definitely escalated this conversation. People love new rules, new objects, performance enhancing legally. And they bats kind of look like a bowling pin. So that's pretty wild. But the Yankees played on opening day. They won 4-2. Really good fortitude. Nobody was asking questions about the bat. The guys were using those bats. No one had their questions. Didn't seem problematic. Until they put up a 20-burger on Milwaukee, things got loud, and then they boat raced them again. That is the conversation in baseball today. The other things you need to know, and maybe, again, the conversation should just stop after, these are legal. You can do this. Other players and teams are using this. There's a picture of Ryan Jeffers going around, Junior Caminero, Francisco Lindor, who is 0 for 11 on the season, also using the bowling pin bat. People were using these last year. It's just so funny sometimes how things can catch or not catch, and for whatever reason, this opening weekend, the Yankees, 3 straight homers on 3 pitches. Never happened before against a former Yankee, a beloved former Yankee. Formerly beloved former Yankee? It's interesting. People didn't love the Freddie homer, but people were kind of...
I think people also didn't blame him for it.
People were more mad at Boone for putting him in that spot.
I think this game helped if he wasn't in good graces with anybody.
That... This blew up. It caught fire across the league. And my guy, McGill, in the Brewers bullpen, having a quote like, because it's the Yankees, the league's not going to look into this. That's pretty... Just a little salt there. Just a little salt there. It's kind of crazy. This is kind of nothing. I think it will be interesting. Baseball players, for all my baseball players tuning in, why don't you just lower your mics for a little bit? Lower your mics. They don't have one. A lot of these guys are meatheads or country boys. That a ton of them come out of high school, and in high school they were focused on playing baseball, and then their job is playing baseball. Even in college, if you're a lot of college studs, your job is playing baseball throughout college. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed myself, but a lot of guys, you find a bat you like, you swing it, you hit it. It's Trevor talked about it a little bit on Talking Baseball. You get a grip of it, you swing it. If you like it, cool. Guys have messed around a lot with the knobs in recent years. There's different kinds of woods. There's different kind of color bats. I mean, maybe you're just someone that the bat goes better with your uniform and you like that, because at the end of the day, you just need to hit the baseball really hard. There is another step to it that I should be giving baseball players credit for. Like I think Trev was talking about that he tried maple for a little bit and he actually hit the ball further because the wood is a little more bendy, but he just didn't like it. So there's some thought process to it, but this also supposedly is a step further, that the bat is more tailored for your swing. So Anthony Volpe, you're getting jammed a little bit. Let's slide that down. Hey, maybe that ball that didn't get out does get out. And a couple other of these Yankees hitters, I guess, I don't know. I don't think we'll ever get to the point where you could push the barrel up more. I'm interested to see if pitchers, if there's a player with a torpedo bat, would you be less likely to throw pitches that would jam them? Whether that's if you're a righty. So let's say it's Anthony Volpe, the Prince who's promised. 19th selling jersey since the World Series, you said?
That was a figure that just came out right before we hit record.
Come here for the stats. Let's say, okay, I'm a right-handed pitcher and I'm facing Anthony Volpe. I've got a good two-seamer in that I think I can jam him on. Okay, maybe am I a little more suspect to do that? Okay, I'm the same right-handed pitcher and I throw a cutter. Am I more likely to now throw the cutter because that's going to be towards the end of the bat? I don't know. I'm currently speculating right now because baseball is just a game of adjustments, and I don't think batters getting a little more meat on the bone towards the handle is going to revolutionize and change the sport. Maybe I'm wrong, and these bats are super duper, but the Yankees came out and they pumped the Brewers this series, and everyone looked really good. They didn't that first game, and everyone moved past that pretty quickly. Let's see what happens next. It's going to be a topic of discussion. I'm sure the Yankees are going to be sick of it because, my God, the beat writers are going to be all over them. They already are. I'd say more importantly, as I alluded to before, Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, former MVPs. Aaron Judge hit 4 home runs this weekend. Aaron Judge has a history of correcting, constantly improving. Aaron Judge originally did struggle with kind of sliders away. He learned how to lay off that pitch. There was one year he struggled with, I think, changeups and splitters, kind of the drop pitches low. The next year he came in. He got better at both of those things. Last year, the only thing that was really on the table was April. He had a slow start that had us with different theories from, is it just seeing pitches and that's what Judge needs? And people tied that into a postseason theory. We are people, by the way. We discussed all of this on Talking Yanks. And maybe there was a different training routine to get him ready for the season. He had a really slow spring until he homered in one of his final at-bats. Maybe it's just dumb. Maybe it's just the rhythm of baseball. Maybe that's why Rafael Devers struck out his first 10 at-bats. Maybe he's got the opposite thing going on. Or is the DH thing messing with him? Or are his shoulders banged up? It's the beauty of baseball. We get to speculate all these different theories as the season rolls on. For the Yankees, it was about as good of an opening weekend as it could get, to the fact that people are wondering if their bats are illegal. I kind of like that for my Yankees because the bats are legal. Let's hop around the league a little bit more. I guess I'm not over the thick bats. I want to see what happens next. Do pitchers adjust? Does it matter at all?
Yeah.
Is it just an illegal Yankees season where they win the World Series and we're like, oh my God, the Yankees won the fat bat year? That was sick. People would hate that.
We'll see how things age, but I think factors that got left out of it by the general discourse are like, it was all like the good hitters on the Yankees that hit homers. That's part of it. They're facing a starting pitcher that they all have familiarity with and the team has great scouting reports on. I believe 2 more of the pitchers were making their MLB debuts. So I think some first time leaving over the plate, warm day, all of that.
And
there's many a factor there.
I could see some of these Yankees numbers coming down to earth. I don't know if Jazz is going to 1.16 the whole year, Goldie 1.25, Wells 1.13.
Good day at the office.
Cody's these are Yankees who have an OPS over 1 dot. Wells, Goldschmidt, Jazz, Cody Bellinger, Aaron Judge, Ben Rice, Oswald Peraza. So that's good, and that leaves out the 2 guys in the 9. That's Trent Grisham and Anthony Volpe. So the Yankees had a really good weekend at the office. I do think there's going to be a point we look back at and we're like, maybe those bats aren't illegal. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and the game is going to completely change, but you don't see that too much in baseball. These bats have been around. Guys used them last year. Mm-hmm. I think Stanton did.
Stanton used them last year. He talked openly about new equipment and a swing change he did in the second half.
Right.
Like,
he's better. I mentioned Devers briefly. We've got a yellow flag up. Let's see what happens next. 0 for 16, 12 strikeouts. He looked lost at the plate. I will say he's one of the guys that oddly does move a lot in his swing. There's a lot of moving parts there. When it works, it's one of the most beautiful things in baseball. Then maybe he's just disconnected out of spring training. Like I said, he has had some shoulder injuries that he's dealing with, so it could be that. It's just something to monitor. Also, the Texas Rangers looked pretty good pitching the ball this weekend. Nathan Eovaldi was their opening day starter. He's a guy that messes with your rhythm. There's a couple times he messed with Devers' rhythm. That sent him out of sorts the whole weekend. That used to be like the knuckleball pitcher theory. That guys kind of dreaded facing knuckleballers because they were like, this is going to throw off my whole routine, which shows how crazy baseball players are. But we're going to monitor the Devers situation. Boston, those games could have went either way. It was a really good series of baseball. What was it? 3-4, 2-3, the final 2 games, and then it was 1-4. Wheeler Abreu. Do we talk about him enough? He kind of won Boston that first game late. Where the Rangers, Adolis Garcia, remember how high everyone was on Adolis Garcia going through that playoff run? El Bombi, he was just down last year, and I don't know if that was injury or just the season never took off. If he plays to his career numbers, the Rangers are going to be in a lot better place. And leading up until last year, he had gotten better every season, and I really liked that, including, peaking during the postseason. The guy was unpitchable for a little bit. He had a big opening day weekend. Wyatt Langford looked good. Jonah Heim had a 2-homer game. These are all guys that had either tough seasons or tough starts last year. I'm in on the Texas Rangers, and most people aren't even talking about the lineup. They're talking about Jacob deGrom back for 5 innings pitched of shutout ball, 6 strikeouts. It sounds like he's not throwing as hard as he can every pitch, which people suggested when he started getting hurt, and a lot of people replied to those people and were like, that's stupid. And it's like, I don't know. It seems like there's a little bit of logic there. He also changed his pitch mix a bit. I think all of his strikeouts were on off-speed pitches. Jacob deGrom is something to watch this year. Also, Jack Leiter, a last name we're all familiar with. It looks like he was in the lab this offseason. John was on it early last year. The fastball looked too straight for him. I think he put in some work on that. One good start against the Boston Red Sox. He does have the moxie on the mound that you like to see. I'm on the Texas Rangers bandwagon this year. I think their lineup has a chance to be the best in baseball, that if they pitch enough, bullpen still freaks me out. But they survived the Red Sox, winning 3 out of 4 out of home. I think that's going to be a nice feather in their cap to have. Let's see. Let's start scooting around a little bit. What did I see in Baltimore and Toronto? Happy Toronto salvaged the set at home. This is a massive year for that franchise. Orioles came out, and I was feeling pretty good. I ended up picking them to win the AL East. It was a little bit of a AL Braves theory. Everything seemingly went wrong for the Braves last year, and they won, I think, 91 games, or 90. They were in that Mets play-in, play-out thing at the end, whatever the hell that was. Tough for my Snakes. And everything seemingly went wrong for the Braves. That it's like, oh, shoot, well, if they win a couple ball games this year, they're going to be – things feel like they're going right. They're going to be okay. Braves fans, 0-4. Not the start they were looking for. We'll get there. For the Orioles, it kind of felt the same way. Like, what went right for the Orioles last year? Colton Cowser, who, by the way, just went on the IL, broken thumb, 6 to 8 weeks. So that's actually a big blow for the Orioles. He leads off for them sometimes. A versatile, really good piece for them. They are now going to be missing for a little bit. They called up Dylan Carlson. We'll see if he finds his magic he's been looking for the past couple years. Anyways, Tyler O'Neill could be one of the best signings of the offseason. He homers for them on opening day. 6 straight opening days. That's one of those good baseball oddities, huh? And Adley hit 2 homers and Cedric hit 2 homers. And those were 2 guys that have had their struggles in different ways. That felt significant. The other thing for the Birds, Jordan Westberg was a guy that was popping up on some of the best, one of the best AL third basemen for a part of last season. Only ended up playing 107. Some of the numbers came back down to earth. A 129 OPS plus for the 25-year-old third baseman. And it's just, the Orioles traded Joey Ortiz to the Brewers as part of the Corbin Burns deal, and Joey Ortiz looked really good last year. That it was like, ooh, is this going to be one that stings the Orioles, huh? And maybe it will. Maybe Joey Ortiz is that guy. I don't know. I don't know where I stand with Jordan Westberg or Joey Ortiz, but I know the Orioles had both of them in-house, and they said, we want Jordan Westberg. So what does that mean? Let's find out together. But he had a 2-homer game that feels significant. And hey, I'm proud of the Blue Jays for salvaging the series. Kevin Gossman's velo was back up. I was mad. I think I mentioned to you guys briefly, I entered a fantasy league very late. The draft was late. Draft started at 9:15. Poppy's getting sleepy these days. That there was a couple picks. I was doing the draft on my phone, and sometimes when you're doing that, you switch around and you start texting and you get distracted. That I missed a couple picks. One of them was Kevin Gossman, and I was like, ooh, I don't love that for me. I'm not driving the Gossman bus. Read up, velo's back up. So I'm in. So the velo up on his fastball helps. Not only does it help his fastball, it helps his splitter, just like it would a lot of pitchers in their secondary pitches. Anyways, Chris Bassett with a good debut. Sugano and Scherzer get hurt in this series. So that's kind of a little bit of a tough break for them. But Andres Jimenez was involved in a lot of plays. Blue Jays, Bo Bichette had a massive series. He had a 4-hit day one day. Blue Jays are in fight for your life mode all the way until the trade deadline to try to keep Vladdy in town, and Bo and Bassett and Scherzer and the bullpen. That they're going to be something. I think they're going to be fun to watch this year. I've been wrong before. A's in Seattle. Who was watching that Osvaldo Bido start? I was, because I was clicking around the DraftKings app maybe a little too much. And I guess I have turned into a Mariners hater. Mariners fans know this. And it's because I love the Mariners. I just wish they were better. Osvaldo Bido Something about that name gets it. If your name starts with O and ends with O, come on. And his first name, 2 O's. Anyways, I think the A's and Mariners are separated by not a lot. That's so unfair. How about this? I like the A's hitting a lot better than the Mariners. And that should feel nuts because the Mariners should be in this window of all in. But the Athletics, and I hope Jolly doesn't listen to this because I was kind of being tough on him in his Athletics. Lawrence Butler just got an extension, might be a dude, might be able to hit a lot. Brent Rooker, on a lot of other teams, I would already tell you he's a dude that hits a lot. JJ Bleday might be good. Shea Langeliers, as far as catchers go, hits. Tyler Soderstrom had a big weekend. Former high prospect, bunch of homers. He's 23 years old. Okay. And then it's it's listed as Andujar and Urshela, which, hello, Yankee fans. And then it's the other Max Muncy and the other, not the other Jacob Wilson, but Jack Wilson's son. That I don't know. I guess I think the Athletics lineup can be better than Seattle's lineup. I'm confident saying that. Seattle's pitching will be better, but the Athletics can pitch a little bit. Sevy, Springs, my guy Beto, JP Sears had a big start. We'll see Estes today. He's 23. I don't know. This was a bad, long story to tell everyone that a bet popped up, and it was which starting pitcher will win this game. And it was Bryce Miller, like minus 180, that if you're not in the gambling world, that's not a great payoff. It was Osvaldo Beto plus 300. And I was like, can I get 5 innings out of OOOB? OOBO? Ubu? And they did, and I won that bet. So that's a horrible story. But some fun baseball in the Pacific Northwest. Polanco and Randy homer in the first game. That's huge for them. Julio hits the game winner on getaway day. I hope that matters for them because I want them to matter. Mets, Astros. If you didn't see, the first game ended with a tough Soto at bat that some people were taking laps on. Joe's McFly. Soto comes back. He homers in the second game. Spencer Arrighetti, a name you might have to know. One of the young pitchers for this Houston Astros team, if they're hoping to be competitive this year. Him and Hunter Brown after Framber shoved on the opening game. Brewers, Yanks, we talked about that a little bit. Guardians, Royals was fun. If you like some good AL Centrale baseball. My takeaway was Kansas City is one of the best sports towns. I know that's a fun game people like to play. They were booing the Guardians win on getaway day, and Class A had hit Jonathan India in the head with a pitch. We don't love that. We definitely don't like that. Guardians won. They take 2 out of 3 on the road. The Royals fans were booing loud at the end of the game at Class A. You don't see that a lot. I guess in any sport, an opposing team wins and you just hear tons of boos. Can you think of any? Because NBA, it's either like a buzzer beater and it's just shock, or your team has lost and you've known for a little bit.
It's rare.
I mean, it would have to be what? Like a hated player? Like if Dylan Brooks hit a game-winning 3 or something?
Who it is matters.
The boos were loud. And it just made me like Kansas City, the sports town, a lot more. Angels, White Sox, no thanks, really. Yoan Moncada made a nice play on a ball at third base. And for some reason, that's on my radar. Could be on your team's radar, too. Jose Soriano with a good start. I already told you Yandy Diaz got robbed by all of the Rockies' good defenders. Rays won 2 out of 3, though. Some people are in on the Rays. I'm not there yet. I like the rest of the division more. Cubs and Snakes played a few fun ones in the desert. If you guys, if you got involved in that, the Dansby Swanson play to end the third game is one of my One of my favorite defensive plays I've seen in a long time. Chopper in the hole. Garrett Hampson running from second base, one of the faster guys in the league. He rounds third aggressively. BBD has it up on the YouTubes here. Corbin Carroll hits a little bloop to short that Dansby fields. Garrett Hampson, to end the game, 2 outs in the ninth. That's the game-tying run. So there's a couple great notes here. It's Corbin Carroll running. So the fact he hits that weird infield bloop, you're probably not getting Corbin Carroll. That's in Dansby Swanson said. This is a perfect example of kids, if you're learning baseball, like think of every situation before the ball is hit and you're better prepared. The base runner, Garrett Hampson, who's a speed player, this guy's pinch run a lot, he sees that the third baseman, he has good distance from him because that's who would be covering third, right? Well, Dansby has gotten the ball, and his momentum is going towards third base. So while the third baseman's back is to the runner, Dansby's momentum is going that way. He gives a pump fake of a throw. I don't think Hampson minds too much. And then he is just caught. It still looks like, and I think this is just camera angles not helping Hampson here, because I think they're probably equidistant, and Dansby has momentum.
So it's like a step. But
but Dansby, just a high IQ, a guy who's amazing, like all-time defensive player, wins the game for the Cubs on that play. That was one of my favorite games, or favorite plays, I should say, from around the league. Hampson just laying on the ground. That's pretty tough. A guy that hasn't earned a ton of Diamondback stripes yet. In a position to succeed, gets got by one of the best defenders in the league. What you need to know is Diamondbacks scored 8 in the 8th in the last game to salvage that series. And Eugenio Suarez is on his BS again, and he is hitting bombs. I guess this is the last series I really want to hit. The Padres swept the Braves. Padres are 4-0. The Braves are 0-4. The Braves get shut out in the final 2 games behind Nick Pivetta and Randy Vasquez, former Yankee farmhand. That's tough. Couple big pinch hits in San Diego. Gavin Sheets and Yuli Gurriel. San Diego is going to be a fun case study this year because their top-end talent still goes with anyone. There's questions about the depth, and there should be questions about the depth. Our guy Dave Schoenfield, who did I say we have to befriend him this year?
Yeah.
Is he the guy?
We want him.
Okay, I'll work on that. He had a line in his article that was a little harsh, that was about some of the Padres' depth pieces. But it's also kind of true. The Padres' depth is a little daunting. That Nick Pivetta signing can go down as one of the better signings this offseason. He pitched at Fenway. Babes, do you know how long Nick Pivetta was a Red Sox?
How long he was a Red Sox? I would guess like 4 seasons.
Traded during 2020.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. I'll tell you a bad place.
That was a year late, I think.
A bad place to pitch? Fenway Park. And I know we have FIP and we have a lot of numbers that reflect different things. Know what's been generally a good place to pitch? San Diego. Pivetta gave them insurance in their rotation that they're already using. They're already banged up there. And I think he has a chance to have a really good season for them. We've seen a lot of pitchers have really good seasons for them. They beat up on the Braves. Cronenworth has a couple big swings versus lefties. Reminder, go check out the Chris Rose and Jolly Olive closest to the pin video that we posted on Jam Baseball from spring training. Tatis looked good. Bogarts had a couple good hits. The talent on these Padres are going to allow them to be in on every game. And if they pitch enough they shut out the mighty Braves those final 2 games. Let's keep an eye on the Braves. This should end fast. This should be 10 days from now. We're doing Wake and Jake, and the Braves are 500 or whatever. Some good team is going to get bit this year in the NL. Some really good team is going to get bit. I'm not saying it's the Braves after one weekend where the final game landed with Tatis having a check swing double down the line to start the game. I mean, it's pretty brutal. But the NL you got to keep up this year, and they're going to. I still have all of my Brave stock. Maybe the perfect example to look back on in a few weeks is the Marlins won 3 out of 4 against the Pirates. All 3 walk-offs. Jeff Conine got his number retired. Son homered in the game. Pretty cool. Yeah. Hashtag goals. I don't know if I want to be retired by the Marlins. I guess it would be an interesting plot twist. I'll leave my heart open to it. I don't know. Have fun this year, Miami. And yeah, Pittsburgh, I have such a disappointed father angle at that they should have done so much more. Hope I'm wrong. Dodgers swept the Tigers. If you're looking to make money this year, Dodgers went down 2-0 in the second 2 games. Bet them both times. They won. So that's just something to look out for throughout the season. Phillies had a nice series win over the Nationals on the road. Mackenzie Gore on opening day. Good golly, Miss Molly. 6 innings, 13 Ks. Luzardo made his debut. He looked good. A lot of homers from Phillies. We're talking Schwarbs back-to-back games. Marsh and Stott in that second one. Nats rallied with Bell and Lowe, remember? Nathaniel Lowe and Josh Bell, kind of early settler names, both. I'd argue. And they didn't think people would sign both of those guys, but they did, and they both homered. So go Nats and Mitchell Parker. I do have one I want to save. Okay, the Twins in St. Louis. Cardinals sweep the Twins. Hello. I mean, this sounds basic and dumb, but the Cardinals got good pitching. Gray. Sonny Gray, Fetty, and Palante, our guy. And they hit more than enough. Lars Nootbaar had a good series. We did a What is Lars Nootbaar? Maybe we find out this year. Arenado with a couple big games. He chose to stay, kind of. / he turned down Houston. And then, Victor Scott hit a big homer, and he kind of pimped it. For me, that was just one of those moments hey, when maybe the Cardinals are going to have one of these outfielders figured out, and if Victor Scott has an OPS that starts with a 7, I think he's a really good baseball player. So let's see how the Cardinals' young player developed. They brought in no free agents. Ivan Herrera's playing catcher. He had some good games. Twins, not the start you wanted. But I think my favorite series is brought to you by MLB 9 Innings. This whole episode is sponsored by MLB 9 Innings, a Major League Baseball game you can play in the palm of your hands. MLB 9 Innings, a wide variety of game modes from League Mode, where users can play through a season, to live player versus player. 9 Innings has over 2,000 player cards to collect and use in your dream roster. They've got everything: logos, ballparks, uniforms. They also have historic players. How about Adrian Beltre? I have a jersey of his. Derek Jeter, behind me. Joe DiMaggio, Kirby Puckett, Satchel Paige. MLB 9 Innings has released an incredible trailer. You got to go check it out. Trout, Griffey, and Maddox are in there. MLB 9 Innings. Download and play MLB 9 Innings 25 today with the link in the description. My favorite series, my dirty little secret series. It's the San Francisco Giants and the Cincinnati Reds. I like both of these teams. Again, I think when I say it's my dirty little secret, it's kind of going back to middle school or high school and being like, I think I kind of got a crush on that girl, but you don't want to tell your buddies yet. She plays the bassoon and you're kind of embarrassed. It's a nice instrument. Encourage your kids to play music. Logan Webb versus Hunter Green. Like. Big time. That game, Elliot Ramos homers, which... Again, there's a whole argument we should have talked about him a lot more this offseason. But for some reason, we don't believe in any, Giants players. Wilmer Flores had the game-winning homer. Just a reminder, Wilmer Flores' stats before last year were really good. Maybe it's just a good start. Maybe there's something there. Maybe there's not. In the next game, Justin Verlander for your Giants against Nick Lodolo. Like. Not love, if I called Webb and Green that. But Matt McClain had a big weekend for the Reds. Couple big home runs. We love that. CES, Christian Encarnacion Strand in the mix. The Giants win on getaway day. Robbie Ray, who I took a flyer on him in my fantasy league. I think I could like Robbie Ray. He was no hitting him until he got hit a lot. That changes his final line. But he looked really good. Jung-Hoo Lee is playing, which that was one of those injuries at the end of spring that everyone was like, oh, shoot, is this happening again? He had a couple good games. Ramos homer again. Matt Chapman homer. That there was a lot of fun back and forth baseball played in this series. Maybe part of that's the bullpen. Maybe parts of that the rosters of guys you're in like with but not in love with. If either of those teams was in the AL, I think I would be pumping them up, and I would be like, watch out for these guys. They aren't. They're in the NL, where I just said the Braves might have to watch out for their season, and the Braves are a juggernaut of sorts. So, with that around baseball a little bit, it sucks that the Dodgers, we're going to talk about but not like Mookie Betts had an amazing game, but none of us are surprised. Like, he's coming off the stuff where he lost 20 pounds. Is he okay? Should he be playing? He homers, and then he homers again, the game winner. Walk-off. He is an absolute sicko. Let's see. Kyle Tucker on the board with his Cubbies. We're heading there the end of this week. Me and Jolly Olive. That's right. I got to stop dusting him until that's done. We'll be outside of Wrigley Thursday, 5:30. Little Thursday happy hour live show. Outside of Wrigley should be a lot of fun. And it was fun to have baseball back, man. All the quirky plays. A bunch of guys got extensions done before the season, which is exciting. Big dumper for the Mariners. 6 for 105. Yup. Brandon Pfaadt with the Snakes got a 5-year deal. We had a pitcher get a hit. You wouldn't think they're still doing that. But Ryan Nelson for the Snakes in that 8-run 8th inning with an RBI bingoer. So, opening weekend gave us a lot. Good to have baseball back on the TV screen. Still ready to get back into the everyday rhythm that is the MLB season. And, if I'm being honest, if I was tough on your team, if I was light on your team, baseball's back. And the beginning of the season, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but how many Wake and Jake episodes did I do about the Astros' slow start last year, and I compared it to other seasons, and they figured it out. And, hey, maybe that's a little rooted reason why I've been mean to the Mariners for blowing a 10-game lead faster than any team has ever done in the sport. People don't forget. Like, even the Cubbies, I have the DBacks in my heart, but it was going to be, if they won 3 out of 4 against the Snakes, they were going to be 3-3, and it's like, okay. I was pretty hot to trot on the Cubs should be sad and mad about losing both those games in Japan because they were Cubs home games. And then I thought about it, and it's like, okay, if the Dodgers beat the Cubs in 2 games at Wrigley, would I have even flinched? I don't know. The Dodgers ain't lost yet, and they're not going to lose a lot. Cubs, let's get back to 500. I want to get on the Cubs bus at some point this season. And maybe it starts this weekend. When I'll be in Wrigleyville and I'll be at opening day. So that's going to be kind of cool. For now, keep an eye on Devers. Wilson Contreras also switched positions, catcher to first base. He didn't hit. So maybe the switch position boys are a little freaked out. Let's see how much the Yankees are cheating. Let's see what other hitters switch bats. And let's see who gets hot out of the gate. Because an undefeated April like the Rays had, that'll get you into the dance. Kind of rooting for the Yanks to do that. Just set the tone. Thank you guys so much. Excited Baseball's back. We have a treat for you on Wednesday. Foolish is here. And we're going to grill him on his top 50 players list, and I'll tell him where he's an absolute fool-ish. Thank you guys. Subscribe. All the good stuff. Still miss you, Uncle Dan.